Yep.
Okay, I'm Austin Cat. We're good to go.
I can't hear anybody else. Is this thing on? Are we live?
I think we are live. And if we are, welcome everybody to National eSTOL live at Jennings, Louisiana in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. Somebody from let me know if you can hear my voice. The sweet sultry tones
I can
of
hear
Thurston's
you.
TV. Cam, hey, that's
Yes.
a voice right there, I'll tell you. So guys,
Yeah, 80K, I can hear you, but I can't hear anybody else. I can't hear Cam or Dustix. Well, I mean, I'll say things just in case people can hear me, just in case, because I can't hear anybody at the moment. But yeah, hi. My name's Kat, and I'm one of the pilots from last year. And you're live here at Jennings for National eSports.
Can you hear each other now?
We have our first class lining up at the moment, getting ready to go. And just bear with us.
and I'm not sure
How is it now? We got it fixed?
So a chatter said that our mics are only hot when we're on face cam on the screen. Okay. So chat should be able to hear me.
Oh, Bursix, I can hear you now.
You should be. Yeah, I can actually hear you. Well, I'm hearing you in Discord, I think, but.
Oh,
I think
okay.
we're live.
No, I'm all muted in the Discord, so I think we're working, right?
All right. And
Ooh, can
we
y'all hear
are
me?
live here at eSTOL, live at Jennings SwampSTOL in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's a new livery. Look at that. Someone hooked fish foo up with a nice livery. Who did that? That's beautiful. Whoever made that livery, man,
Ooh,
I envy you. I haven't made a livery in months.
I'm liking that
I've
purple
been dealing with a
and
lot
blue.
of life, you know. Life happens. You got to work. You got to do things. But today, it's time for eSTOL. So I don't know if anybody heard my introduction, but we do have a new announcer with us today. Kat Blue Flame is with us, and everybody knows her as one of the top contenders from last year. So I was going to ask Kat, I was asking her how are you finding it? Are you making the switch over to announcing or doing any flying in the competition this year?
I'm sure you'll see me up in the air this year. I'm planning on just flitting around and having some fun with it this year. Maybe focusing a bit less on trying to be at the bleeding edge and a bit more on making myself and hopefully everybody else smile.
That's awesome. You know what? I am happy to hear, because last year you were a scary one. I mean, every time we watched you fly, it was like you're either going to take off and land at 10 feet, or you're not going to qualify. You go all in or nothing. That is all there is. So it's good to take a break every once in a while from the competition side of it. But we do hope to see you flying this year. It's always a good time watching you in the sky, but just as equally as good to have you here with us announcing today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to the new challenge of announcing as well.
Yep, I am here. I am live from North Little Rock, Arkansas. We were at Jennings last week. It was a good time announcing with Ryan and seeing all of our IRL, or in real life, competitors. There's our lovely faces, Kat, Burstix.
I'm pretty jealous. I have to say, I'm pretty jealous with Cam and Ryan, because you guys got to go to SwampSTOL this year and I didn't. I could have went, I'm sure, but I didn't set up to go because, sorry, I got to open that window there, because I didn't, I got to work. I got to make some money. I have a new baby. So
you got to do
the things you got to do in life. But,
Mr. Barron,
super.
That was his name, isn't it?
Yep, Barron. Yep, he's 5 months old now.
You guys
gonna be 6 months soon. They grow up fast, man. That's insane. Those of you with kids will know. Everybody told me that, and I'm not to say I didn't believe it, but you don't really understand it until you have your own kid. So today we're going to be starting with the touring class. We have a lot of Wilgas in the touring class today, aka the Wilga Beast. There's that sign I was talking about, the SwampSTOL sign with the little alligator on it. That's an appropriate name.
The Wilga Beast.
Got the Ferrari Wilga. Barricus. And I imagine Barricus is the one responsible for rendering that little alligator on that sign, because he fortunately does all of our graphics for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or for eSTOL on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Does a great job.
Yeah, he does all the you'll see the insignias and things, and the posters that are put out for eSTOL. So he does all of those, taking the interpretation of the ones that what we have in National STOL and turning them into something for eSTOL. So yeah, very talented.
You know what I really liked is when he added in the half court logos on the sceneries for eSTOL, and Tom was like, "Man, we got to get those on the real National STOL runways," and I'm like, "That's going to be a lot of money to have somebody paint that on there." I can't see like me and Ryan hand spraying it with that little wheeled hand sprayer. I mean, we wouldn't be that talented, so you'd have to get somebody good out there, you know.
Maybe a stencil.
Oh, yeah, that would be, yes. Cam, I always knew you were smart.
Only sometimes, man. Only.
Yeah, same here.
The light only turns on a few times a year.
No, you're smart all the time. So we got Smitty here. Smitty is, if you guys remember from last year, it wasn't that long ago, but you know, there's been a few beers and cheers in between there. So I won't hold it against anybody if they forgot, but what you're seeing right now is what Smitty rolls in, okay? He's rolling in peaks. He is rolling in the deep with his full motion simulator that he built himself. He said that this thing cost about the price of a motorcycle, so when, you know, he was talking to his wife, he kind of just said, "Hey, I want to build this thing. It's either that or a motorcycle. Well, I'll do one or the other. I'm going to do the full motion flight simulator." Boom. And so my estimation of that, I would say that thing had to cost him probably somewhere near about 20 grand or a little less than that. And man, that is, but when you see how much he uses it, it's definitely worth it. So, any Cam, Kat, do you guys know who this livery is? I haven't seen this one yet.
This is Bird Dog with his new livery. This is Bird Dog's new livery.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very patriotic.
It is.
Old Glory.
It is very patriotic.
Yeah, we're coming up on what, America's 250th here soon? Or did we didn't already hit it, did we? No, we're coming up on it. Yep, America's 250th birthday coming up in 2026. Mad Dog's preparing for that. Or Bad Dog. Bad. What's the correct naming of the pilot of that plane, Cat? I think I said Mad Dog. I don't think it's Mad Dog. And the
this
great
one is
fish food.
Yeah, number 24.
I like the digital lettering on the back. You got the, I don't know if that's a magic carp or if it's just a regular carp or koi, but we got the fish food.
It's also got the stickers of the places that he's competed at as well. It's always good to see people adding to their liveries over time and evolving them with stickers or marks of damage, things like that. You know, these livery makers are really talented.
I think Kat might have started that trend. Don't be so humble, Kat. I think you started that trend. No, but you were definitely the first one I remember seeing with like the first. I remember I didn't notice it until like the third competition, and you had like all three of the stickers on there, and I was like, that is so cool. And then everybody started doing it. Now, I'm not saying for sure you were the first one to do it, because maybe somebody else did, but I think you were.
I mean, I think a few of us were doing it at the same time, but if you want to give me credit, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, that all ties in with my memory. That all ties in like where you were doing that cross-country flight, where you were putting the 701 in the back of the, I can't remember what you were putting it in, but you actually did all the measurements and stuff. And
yep.
Yeah, the AN2.
Yeah, I took the AN2.
That's what's fun about eSTOL.
AN2 and... Sorry, carry on.
Oh no, I was just saying that's what's fun about eSTOL, because you know there's a lot of people, and so some of our pilots are pilots in real life and they just love flying in the sim. Some of our pilots are, you know, maybe they're disabled in real life and they can't fly in real life, or their health isn't good enough. Some people are in flight school. We have mechanics, we have retired military from all over the world. So, and that's another tie-in too, is that if you want to do eSTOL, really it doesn't take a whole lot of extra money or time if you've already got the flight sim set up. You know, you can do eSTOL, anybody can do it, and that's what's fun about it. You don't have to, you know, buy avgas, and you can come on in here and fly with people from all around the world. And another really interesting thing that I'll let you guys in on, a little tidbit of information, is when these guys are flying, they're all in, chat together as far as the heats and things like that, so they can communicate. And so, they have calls for when they're supposed to take off and everything, and it's really cool. I did it last year to test it out, and that to me was one of the most interesting things about it, was just staying in line with the 6 other pilots and keeping your timing.
We're ready for green flag.
So I do want to take a minute to note a couple people from the Burstix TV Twitch chat. We have Super Tom, Empro, Klahoa, Brown Dog, not Mad Dog, it's Brown Dog. Thank you, Brown Dog. Twisted Cigarette, We Fly Daily, Montana Dude. Let's see if I don't think I missed anybody. Super Tom, not just regular Tom, but Super Tom. Red Baron Flies.
It looks like we
guys,
have
we're getting ready to kick it off. We have the
flag.
green flag. Starting out with
Here we go.
Barukas, aka Barracus.
942. Golga
Now I do
ABP.
notice that. There we go. 123 Mark Hawkins, which is Barracus.
Oh, there we go. Got it corrected.
Nice takeoff. Do we have any information on the winds today out in Jennings,
We can
Louisiana? I
grab
can
that.
pull that information
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I can pull it up real quick. We have the technologies, aka the 4 flights on the cell phones. All right.
Yeah, I don't have 4
And just
flight,
in
but
case-
I do have a 4 flight keychain.
All right, so just in case anyone was wondering, we are at Jennings, Louisiana at Tree Romeo 7. That is also known as 3 Romeo 7, as me and Ryan had a good time with last week. The current weather is winds out the 160 at 13 to 22 knots, so that's 22 knots gusting. Visibility 10 miles, scattered 3,000 on the ceilings. Temperature is 79 degrees Fahrenheit, 26 degrees centigrade if you want to go that way. Altimeter is 30.14, humidity 65%, and density altitude is 1350, which is higher than what it was last week during the in real life competition.
Yeah, I was in a chat with some of the pilots who were practicing this morning and last night, and the winds, the best description for the winds were they were spicy. So that should lead to some really interesting takeoff and landings today, especially when we get to some of the
I like
lighter
spicy
planes.
winds. Sorry, I cut you off there, Kat. What'd you say?
Oh, it's fine. I was just saying that, like I say, we're going to have some really good. When we get to lighter planes, we're going to have some really good. We're going to have some really good distances. Not that
Flying
these
with Joe
wheelers
is
are
doing an
already
excellent
showing
job
us
on that
how it's
takeoff.
done.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get some numbers here going on. So, oh, no numbers yet. We will have them shortly for you. But it seemed like Fly with Joe had a pretty short takeoff. That last takeoff, I think it was sub 100.
I think him and Smitty probably, just from looking at it, because we don't have numbers just yet, but I think from just looking at it, him and Smitty had probably the nicest looking takeoffs, but that would be not up to me to judge. That's why we have judges. First landing coming in. Gave up a little bit on the landing.
Some nice placement,
A little
some
bit
direct
rough.
energy into the ground. A short stop. And as you
might
said,
say-
it gave up a little much.
Yeah, about maybe about 100 feet. But you might say this is, looks like it may be the first competition of the year or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Not like they're knocking off the dust and the cobwebs off the aircraft. Ooh, Smitty
Ooh,
almost
nice.
had a scratch, but that was a great landing. Just a little bit over 100 feet, looks like, on that stop.
Yeah, and he's got room to improve too, because if you notice, he did give up, 20 to 30 feet, and so
Yeah.
with that kind of a stop, if he can get closer to the numbers, then or closer to the line, then he's good.
You'll find a lot of pilots
And
will
Brown
on their
Bow.
first round. Another great start.
All right, Brown
I mean, you'll
Dog.
find a lot of
Yeah,
pilots on
throwing
their
it
first
down.
rounds that would they will give it a little extra distance just to get some numbers on the board.
So coming at it from a pilot's perspective, that's interesting. Kat said that the first round they take it a little easy to get the numbers up on the board, and I think it's a really smart approach because a lot of people are going to scratch. And it's not every day, it's not every competition, but there's a pretty good percentage chance that the pilots after and before you are going to scratch. So if you can get numbers on the board, it's almost like guaranteeing, 1 to 3 spot, 1 through 3. And
Yeah.
obviously there's no guarantees because some days everybody's on and nobody's scratching, but for the most part, this sport, even in the simulator, because the simulator is very much so like real life, or very much like real life. So even in the simulator, these pilots have a tough time. You have live weather. This is the actual weather that's going on at SwampSTOL, as Cam read off a little bit ago. And so this is a real place. It's in Jennings, Louisiana. I've been out to this airfield. I've actually driven a truck on the runway. So it's a pretty interesting place. And I think, how was the mud there this year, Cam, at the real life event? Was it as bad as it was in 2024?
No, not near as bad. In fact, this was the best weather that we've had at a SwampSTOL competition. It was fantastic. The ground was only soft in a few spaces, or in a few spots, mainly behind where all the action was happening. We had an Aerostar come in and land and park, and then proceed to get stuck, which they finally got out of the mud, but it was. I know that they were getting a little frustrated. I know that we were trying to do our best to get them out of the mud, and they got out and did some checks on the aircraft. But yeah, like you had asked, the weather was great. The ground was not muddy, and it was just absolutely awesome. I'm hoping that next year's will be just as exciting and have just as great as weather.
Yeah, nice takeoff from Barracus. And I'm just thinking back to the 2024 real life SwampSTOL. And by the way, guys, if you've never been out to a real life National STOL event, take your family and go to one. Go to one. If you want to volunteer and help out at one and really be a part of the team, get a hold of me. Go to nationalstol.com/chat. That's how you would get a hold of me. And let me know, and I'll hook you up and get you volunteering at the next National STOL event in real life. Nice takeoff.
Yeah, come on out. We would love to have you. And what's awesome, what's equally awesome. Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking back to like the 2024 SwampSTOL where Justin in his plane, I can't think of what it's not. He doesn't have a 701. He's got what does Justin have?
Oh, that's a great question. I know it's a Zenith. I thought it was a 701. It might be
like
the
bigger
heavier
version
duty.
of the 701, I think. But either way, I think so. So last year, like the slow motion video of him just running through that mud puddle, and we had some vendors got stuck. We had overflow parking was packed because we couldn't get across the field to the camping spots, and it was I'll never forget it. And it was still to this day. I'm 34 now. Still to this day, out of 34 years, it was one of the best weekends of my entire life. Just National STOL is such an awesome community of people. Super great. So like I said, getting back to just going out to an event, you have to do it.
All right, and while we're looking at the second heat, I'm going to go through numbers from the first heat. So we've got Mark Hawkins with a 202 takeoff, 207 landing for a combined total of 409. Tom Smitty, number 97, with 122 feet on takeoff, 113 feet on the landing for a combined total of 235. Brown Dog, number 942, with 122 on the takeoff as well and 116 on the landing for a combined total of 238. We don't have numbers for Frozen Alaska, number 92, but Fish Foo, we've got 106 on the takeoff, 149 on the landing, combined total of 255. And Fly with Joe with 121 on the takeoff, 142 on the landing, combined total of 263, which puts everyone... Oh, that was a really nice landing by Barricus.
Wow, that was amazing. What's that?
Right now your point standing...
Looks like it was about 60 feet.
Yeah, sub 100. I mean, this, like you said, everyone's getting it dialed in. This is the first competition of the year.
He's definitely thrown the gauntlet down with that one for sure.
And we've got our current leader right now on approach, Mr. Smitty, with very consistent landings. I mean, just a little bit over 100 feet. Looks like 120 feet, maybe 121 feet.
I was watching Brown Dog practice yesterday, and he is very good at that high alpha approach. Dropping it just like that. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, you called it. That is the quintessential high alpha approach right there. That plane looks beautiful with that American flag coming in on the back.
Oh,
you know, I've noticed the UK flyers, they love their British or their UK flag. There's a lot of the that over the last year where we've had a lot of flyers from the UK, and they've gone to the UK flag on the back of their plane. But I think this is a first as far as such a prominent American flag on the back of one of the planes. So I got to hand it to Brown Dog. Love to see the American flag on the back of the plane. It is a beautiful sight, and it is just something about the American flag. It gets you almost a little emotional when you look at it. You think about all the years we've been around. Hopefully more years to come.
Fly with Joe on approach.
Fly with Joe is an interesting character. So I think he will be announcing with us at one point. He's a Twitch streamer, so you can find him, and we always love to support our Twitch streamers. So if you are a Twitch streamer, feel free to share that in my Twitch chat or even on the YouTube video. But Fly with Joe is one of the bush flying Twitch streamers, so if you guys are looking for someone fun to fly with, I still have not been back to streaming full time yet. So if you guys are looking for someone fun to fly bush with, Fly with Joe is a great one to look at, so please go check him out on Twitch. And Kat, that leads me to asking you, are you still streaming? Have you been streaming at all lately?
Not any flight sim content, and not regularly, but when I get the feeling, then fire up the camera.
Yep, I hear that. You know, I had a good time actually watching your GTA GTA RP stream the one time. That was really interesting. I really don't watch that often, and watching you were in some little quarrel with obviously it's like a Grand Theft Auto role playing, but you were in some quarrel with like an arrest or something like that. It was really funny. I was sitting here at my desk just laughing so hard.
We try to make it entertaining as we can. Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, it's like watching a little movie, so it's pretty interesting.
Speaking of Speaking of streaming, in fact, this is kind of the anniversary of me getting to meet y'all. I don't know if it was last year or if it was 2 years ago, but I hopped on the fly-in stream to Jennings and met the both of you. I was on Kat's channel, on her Twitch channel.
I think that was last year, because
Yeah.
last year was our inaugural year.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We were flying from a site that has been made by our scenery developer, Anov, and it's a fictional site, which is where we had our very first competition. Coming down all the way down, following the roads all the way to Jennings.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Super Tom from the Twitch chat said, "Wait, this isn't real life?" No, Super Tom, it's fake life. Yes, Super Tom did come up with did have a good point. He said, "Don't confuse Fly with Joe with Flights with Joel. Both are great guys, though." Yes, definitely. I love Flights with Joel, and I love Fly with Joe. Both of them are two separate Twitch streamers, but both great.
Shout out to Fly with Joe. Looks like he's from Lakeland, Florida, which we were just there 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago, for Sun and Fun. I feel like he might have come by the booth. So, Joe, if you came by the booth, hello again.
Yeah, I talked to
I
Joe
just want
just
to.
before.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I talked to Joe right before Sun and Fun, and he was mentioning that he was gonna go, and I think he said he was gonna stop into the booth, so it probably was him, Cam.
Awesome. Kat, what were you about to
Kat,
say?
what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just going to draw attention to, I've noticed, because obviously I think we have a bit of a crosswind situation going on. So you'll see the pilots lining up not quite in line with the runway. They need to make sure that they have at least one of their main gear. So for these wheelers, that's the two big wheels at the front. But one of their main gear on that line, and then they can. It's called cheating into the wind, and you can angle yourself a bit to catch a bit more of that breeze. And you'll see them do that in the real competition as well.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, we're on runway 1735, and the winds are out of the 160. So we've got a 10 degree crosswind, which, I mean, just like you said, you're going to take advantage of wherever the wind is coming from. You want to point the nose in that direction in order for that takeoff to be as short as possible, which that's what we're all here for.
Let's see if Baracus can pull out another landing like he did last time. Oh, that's good. That's a good landing again.
He's really directing that energy into the ground as much as possible, as opposed to coming in with a low and slow approach and having enough forward energy to take him over that 100 mark line. So, I mean, he's doing a great job of just throwing it into the ground, because these flights are not for passenger comfort. Just like in the real life competitions, these are competition landings with short field operations. So you're going to see a little aggression, a little aggressiveness on the landings there. Ooh, Smitty throwing it down too. And sub 80 on that landing.
Sub 80.
Sub 80 feet.
Still not the best landing, but it is the second best landing, that's for sure. Ground Dog has got the best landing, and it's that one that Kat mentioned, the high alpha approach. And you'll watch Brown Dog come in again, and he's going to flare at the very end. And see, he flares like that, and it just takes all the energy out. It basically he's stalling on both wings and landing on the ground. And that takes a lot of precise measuring from the old, what do they call that? The Mark I computer, the old human brain.
Oh, it's funny.
The Mark Ones.
The Mark
Yeah,
One.
the Mark One. Takes a lot of computing though, because you're coming up from 500 feet is what the altitude is supposed to be. 500 feet AGL, give or take a few. Ooh, saved it. Fish Foo saved it so far.
Really touched it.
That,
Saved it, yeah.
that might be a
This is
scratch,
exciting.
but that, to me, from that second view, it looked like it possibly was a scratch. Called scratch. Yep. So Fish Food does scratch, but the good thing is he does have numbers up on the board, so it's not an automatic loss of the round. It's just a scratch for that heat, or for that round. So, Kat, how did you get into bush flying? I'm interested in this because, you know, it looks like it just seems like, I don't know, I miss flying with everybody, and I remember you in the very beginning. You've been around since I first started flying, so how did you get into it?
So I was just having fun in the simulator like everybody else. And I didn't know specifically anything about bush, but I just always had the tendency to try to take little planes and put them in silly places. I then found out about National STOL for a YouTube recommendation, and I just started doing similar to that. Then found a streamer, which was Who Can Do, who's been a guest on the show a few last year, and started flying with him and learned about this wonderful world of STOL and bush flying and backcountry and big tires and big grins all around.
All right, and here are the standings for the
awesome.
touring class. Number 1, Brown Dog, with a total score of 136. Number 2, Tom Smith, total score of 196. Fish Foo with a total score of 228. Mark Hawkins, total score of 236. And Fly with Joe, rounding out the class with a score of 238.
Cue in a video of what is STOL, if you could.
Only 10 feet from third to fifth. That goes to show how competitive even the second half of the class is. The 136 on Brown Dog is just he's put his name down for this season for sure.
Yeah, and he really did last season too, because Brown Dog wasn't someone who started right at the beginning of the 2024 National eSTOL season. He came in a few competitions in, and he really quickly rose to the top of the pack as far as skill level goes. But yeah, that's an interesting stat. Typically, we don't look so closely at the last three, but that's pretty interesting. So even the people who come in, third to fifth, they're really close. So those people just have a little more work to do to break into that Brown Dog territory. But we got to say congrats to Brown Dog on this class. A hoot and a holler for Brown Dog, everybody in the chat. If we can get a Brown Dog
what happened
in
to Katie
the
and
chat.
Dan? Yeah, I'm pretty sure 180, 182 or something like that. Oh, no, man.
I think Cam's got a mute.
Oh, man. Y'all can't hear me, can you?
I think we do gotta mute Cam's mic.
Yeah, I think you're on stream still.
I think Cam is on a business call right now. Anyway, so we have let's see here, Bush class
up next,
coming
I think.
up next. When are we going to change the name to the 170B class? I mean, it's not the official name, but the official class that typically, or the official plane that typically wins this class is the 170B. But we do see some Huskies. We do have a couple people that fly the Huskies. Typically what I've seen, because, most of the planes in the Microsoft Flight Simulator are pretty good. They're pretty accurate to real-life specs. One of the planes that didn't get a whole lot of love, and no pun to a Led Zeppelin song, but we don't want to get sued by Led Zeppelin. But one of the planes that didn't get a whole lot of love after it was first released was the Husky. So it's one of the planes that I think is a little tougher to fly in the flight sim. Now that's not talking real world stats. We're just talking flight sim stats here. But you do still see people fly it. Typically what I've seen is there will be people flying it, and then they end up switching to the 170B because it is the most competitive plane in the class. The 170B is tricky. It's very tricky. There's a little secret to that plane that some of the best flyers know. And if you want to know those secrets, you can go to nationalstol.com/chat. And you got to make friends with Victor, or Red Baron, and they might tell you the secret to how they fly the 170B so well.
So there is an interesting thing actually. This year, the 170B might not be quite as dominant. Last year they ran the 170B that was done by a developer called Sal. This year that plane's actually been outlawed, and we're now using the Caronado 170B. And this one has statistics are a little bit closer to the real world statistics of the plane. So those 170s might be struggling, yes.
So I like that, because the 170B of Christmases past, aka the one that we took out of the competition, that one to me was very, very unrealistic. So I'm glad that we made a change, and that's the kind of stuff that we as an organization, as eSTOL, we have kind of made a little bit of an impact here on Microsoft Flight Simulator. And one of the things that we do is demand, maybe not perfection, but we demand at least really high attention to detail with, the planes in the Flight Simulator that are made by really great developers. And then also, they have to be close to what's real life is, because when we do a national eSTOL, we want to make this as real as possible. And in so many different ways, with the weather, with our beautiful airports that are available. You can purchase our airports from the wonderful ANOV, but you can purchase them right on the Flight Simulator. So you can go into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and purchase all of the airports. I'm not sure if they're available in 2024 yet. I know that's a lot of work. I think it's about 8 to 10 airports that ANOV is probably spiffing up to get into 2024, but maybe they are available, maybe not. Try to get an answer for that, though. And we have a green flag. Looks like Owen, what I love to see is people in the chat on the YouTube and the Twitch, people cheering on the pilots. We have Super Tom and Owenu Loves Rice saying, "Go fish." Super Tom says, "Nice fish food. Get your game up, Joel." But I thought it was Joe, Super Tom. I thought it was Joe. Joe and Joel are two different people. One of them's going to have to change their name. And I do say Joel was here first. But no, actually, I told Joe, fly with Joe. I actually told him he should just keep his name because I like it.
That Husky just clawed itself into the air there. Possibly the wind's just dropping out underneath his wing. Yep.
I've seen that's where you're taking off in the plane. So...
Yeah, that's where you're taking off and the plane just wasn't quite ready to fly.
But somehow you still keep it in the air.
Yeah, yeah.
and that's just a sign that he's pushing it as hard as he can go, and it's it's obviously in real life you would want to avoid those type of situations, but that's one of the reasons why we have National eSTOL, so people can learn about STOL in general, and you can learn a whole lot from the flight simulator. Obviously, you're not going to be, learning how to fly a plane, 100% from the flight simulator, but you can learn a lot about STOL, and it can be a great beginning for people getting into STOL flying. So make sure you stop into nationalstol.com/chat and join the conversation with all the pilots. And if you're interested in joining the competition, or maybe even volunteering some time to help out with our competitions, nationalstol.com/chat. That's the one. Byron Bowman giving up a little bit, but I do like to see... I actually really like to see this Coronado 170B. Now, guys, if you've been here for the whole last season in 2024, Kat mentioned that the 170B you're seeing here is now the Coronado one and no longer the Sal 1-800 one. While we do love Sal 1-800, I really enjoyed seeing that landing there. You got to see the tires kind of bounce, the suspension, reacting with the ground. With the Sal 1-800 one, you would see the tires just going into the ground like 90% of the time. So some of the quirks of the flight simulator, but working those things out is important, and I'm glad that we have the Coronado 170B in there now. But we do still appreciate the Sal 1-800 170B that carried us through the entire first 2024 season. Brown Dog, thank you for the subscription on the Twitch chat. Much appreciated.
Scratch on that one.
And congrats on your win of the inaugural 2025 SwampSTOL.
That actually brings up a good point that you're saying about the bounces, because one thing you will see in the simulator, and it is purely just an artifact of us watching other people in the simulator, you'll quite often see planes do fairly large bounces. That's not what the pilot's seeing. As a pilot, you're seeing a completely smooth landing. It is just an artifact of it being a simulator and us watching from a third-person point of view.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, because I mean, how we do this, actually a little behind the scenes look. I always love these kind of things, so might as well share with you guys. Behind the scenes, we have a couple drone pilots, and they're in the simulator, in their drones videotaping this. So we actually do have real camera people that are actually cameraing the entire event, multiple different views, multiple different angles, some static, some moving, but they're all, controlled or set up by people. And so it's pretty interesting. Note that Kat made is that sometimes when you see these big bounces and stuff like that, that's not actually what the pilot's seeing. And it's good to remember that, because that's one of the downfalls of the flight simulator. Well, it's not really a downfall, but it's just one of the quirks about the flight simulator, that you can't really control that. It's kind of like a desync thing with multiplayer and video games, and we all understand lag. We've all dealt with it. Anybody who's ever played a video game knows. That's why I die every time in Call of Duty, because of lag. Byron Bowman taking off on his second run of the tour, or the Bush class.
Do we have the distances for the first run?
What was that, Kat?
Distances are coming up now.
I was just looking at the distances for the first run.
Ooh, yeah. Let us know.
Looks like the Husky got a total of 211, and Red Baron with 251. So the era of the 170B's domination, maybe this is the end of it.
Yeah, the takeoff looks like it's really struggling. The landing still looks competitive in the landing, but you're right, Kat. The takeoff has taken, more realistic. It's a hit, between last year's 170B and this year's 170B in eSTOL. But we gotta make sure it's more realistic, and that's always going to be the thing. So you probably will see, at the beginning of this class, I mentioned that the Husky was not a dominant plane, but it may now be the dominant plane. And actually, Kat, you might know this, but are they running? Is there any mod for the Husky that has been approved and that they're running?
No, that's a completely stock Husky. Stock to the game, anyway.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that plane has not seen an update in a long time, which, it is what it is. The planes come out, people can't just, work on them forever and ever. They've got other planes to make and stuff like that. But, I guess maybe the Husky isn't so bad. Possibly my view from the beginning of this class may be just the fact that the 170B was just too good. But even if the Carenata 170B stays non-competitive or not as competitive as it was, I don't know if you'll ever see Byron Bowman switch out of it. He loves the plane too much.
Oh, absolutely.
So right now, leading the pack, Joseph
Okay.
Sherry in the Husky, and then it looks like Jesse Dobbins did have a scratch. So Jesse Dobbins in the yellow Husky. Joseph Sherry is in the red, white, and black Husky. It looks almost purple to me. And then you have Byron Bowman in the 170B. Now Jesse up in the sky right now. He's focusing in. This is his second landing. And he's really trying to get a score here because, remember, guys, he does not have one. He scratched the first round. Looks like he's going to be good. No scratch.
No scratch, but he did carry a
bit.
lot of energy, and he did bring a lot of energy in, and didn't get that. I'm sure he can beat that next time.
So, Kat, just interesting to have someone, not retired pilot, but you were one of the best pilots last year, even though you did have a couple events that you didn't, qualify in. But you had some really great numbers last year. What could he have done differently to make his landing better? And that would have been Jesse Dobbins in the yellow Husky. What could he have done? Just a couple simple tips if you have them.
It all depends on how you fly the plane yourself. I'm very much a high alpha, hang it off of the prop kind of person, trying to bleed off as much energy before I even get anywhere near the ground, and then try to just drill all of that energy into the ground. Just push it all into the ground, so you haven't got to worry about a long rollout.
Yep.
That's what worked for me.
That's what I like to do too, and I haven't competed in a long time. If remembering back, I mean, this competition started with just a few people on my stream. We were just flying out at Johnson's farm, which at that point I didn't even know Anov or anything, and Anov is our scenery creator, but he created the first scenery, and it was a fictional one. All the rest of them are real life places, but that's what we did in the beginning, and even to this day, if I were to go bush flying, I would do the same on most of my landings. So, Kat, that's some great advice. Thank you. And Byron Bowman taking off on his third attempt here. Right now, he did better his second takeoff by 50 feet on the nose, but his second landing was a little bit longer than his first landing. So Joseph Sherry's still going to be taking the first place right now with 211 feet on takeoff and landing total for his first run. Second run wasn't that great compared to his first run, but Byron Bowman caught up and got into second place, and then we do have Jesse Dobbins on the board. But as we talked about just a second ago, his second landing was a little bit long, so maybe /chat, which just takes you to the Discord. That's one of the interesting things about doing that, because you get to talk to people like Kat. They're in there.
Okay, not sure if we're having one or two more technical difficulties, but I think Burstick's just...
That's one of the things
right
I
there.
need to do. I need to hook my Prime back up on Twitch because I switched the Prime account that I have, and it's no longer on my Twitch anymore. But I need to get back on Twitch and get my Prime account so I can sub to my Planet Neutral. That's where my Prime sub always goes. It started there. It'll always go there.
I have to say, seeing a Chrome 170 always gives me a smile. It's a beautiful bird, and Caronado did a great job in the modelling of this as well. It's a gorgeous plane. Now Jesse coming in for his last run. So I can tell you as a pilot, when you're in your final run, there's quite a lot of pressure.
We might be having a sound issue, guys, so if you can't hear the planes at the airfield, just bear with us for a second.
And he's across the line, gave up a few feet. He's trying to haul it up.
Okay, that looks like
dragged a little bit too much energy into
better.
it.
At least he seems like he came in with less
I think Jesse's one of our
momentum than he did on his second landing. But we'll see what the numbers say. He's got to beat 229, so we're looking for Jesse Dobbins and the Yellow Husky
of your plane. Oh, and Joseph gave up a lot of room, but stopped it almost immediately. Wow. Now that's called burying your energy into the ground. That was something else. If he hadn't given up all that distance, that would have been an amazing distance.
To get to that #1 spot. And even when you get to the #1 spot, I'm sure if you ask Brown Dog,
let's have a look at the scoreboard for this one.
In the touring class with the Wildebeest, the Wilga, you know, he would probably tell you that, yeah, he's really competing against his own numbers. But he's kind of in a class of his own. I mean, come on, what are we saying? You know, he's kind of in a class of his own. Interesting,
though. Wait for those scores to update
where is Victor today? Victor, I saw him in the chat. I don't see him flying the 170B from Caronado, so maybe because we got rid of the Cell 1800 version.
There you go. Joseph Sherry takes the backcountry class.
Flying a different plane. So we do have
a total of
Joseph
211.
Sherry in the best run 211.
Red Baron there, Byron Bowman,
also
known as Red Baron,
Jesse Dobbins,
showing that the 717 was Cessna 170B.
And
it may not be as good as it was last year,
wondering if Jesse Dobbins'
not
third landing beat his second landing, what I was talking about a few seconds ago. Yes, he did. So he did get that second landing a little bit better, but on that run, his takeoff was a little bit less, or a little bit more than what his second takeoff was. So, but he did best the landing. So we were wondering if he would beat 229. Yes, he did. So congrats to Joseph Sherry for winning the backcountry class. Joseph Sherry and won a rather new flyer with us. I think he's done a couple events, and it's nice to see new people coming in. Byron Bowman, big winner in these events as well, but he's flying essentially a different plane now, so he's going to have some probably difficulty getting used to that plane and making it do what he wants it to do, but still very competitive here. Only 15 feet difference between first and second place, and then Jesse Dobbins just needs I think it just needs a little work, just a little tightening up of those numbers, and Jesse Dobbins will be right up there with the pack. So congrats to all the flyers, though. Just getting out here and flying, it's such a good time. And I do love the view of all the planes on the field. And you can just see everybody out here. Most of those, those are all multiplayer flyers. They're all here together on the field. And it's pretty cool to be a part of that.
Takeoff and landing competitions are simple. We have the pilots here competing in separate classes to get the lowest score possible. As you see behind me, we have the start-finish line, so let's start with the takeoff.
This runway is marked with a start-finish line, and as a competitor parks their main gear on the line, they apply power and position their aircraft to get off the ground as soon as possible. Once their main gear leaves the ground, a line judge will mark their takeoff score using the measuring line along the side. This score will be added to the pilot's landing score on this heat. The landing is in two parts. It's either over the line and counted, or if the pilot's main gear touches down before the line, or even touches the line, this heat score is scratched and results on a landing disqualification, and the pilot will have to rely on another takeoff and landing score to get them on the podium. A quick look at our aircraft shows we have two types of landing gear, tricycle and tail draggers. On the tail dragger aircraft, the score is marked from the two main wheels toward the front of the airplane. And for tricycle landing gear, the score is marked by the two main gear in the rear of the aircraft. It's a fierce competition out here, but at the end of the day, it's all about building better and safer pilots in the skies.
It's a great day for STOL competitions. Let's get it started.
We're back.
Welcome back, STOL freaks and Av geeks. It seems like it's just me left at the moment. Burst 6 will be back in just a moment, just checking on the baby, and we'll be getting ready for our next class. Okay. Just while we are just taking a little look at the beautiful scenery here, done by our scenery developer Anov. And as you can see, he's replicated everything from, apart from that one sign, everything from National STOL. So this is, it's gorgeous scenery. Yeah. Just in the distance coming around is our next class. I believe that to be a Maul M7. So this is the Spec class. So in this class, this is a class that we have here at eSTOL that you don't have with the National STOL. And this is a class where every pilot will be in exactly the same plane, to the exact same specs, exact same fuel level, and it's nothing more than pilot skill that separates you. So up first, looks like we have Norcali. He's one of our big members here at National eSTOL. He's also a streamer on Twitch, twitch.tv/Norcali. And you'll quite often find him out in the bush, having amazing bush flights and all sorts of crazy adventures. Up next is Wes Campbell. This is a pilot who has flown with us at National STOL for a while. You can see him there waggling his tail and saying hello to everybody in the stands and waving over there at Burstix and Cam in the trailer. And there you go. There you can see his sim setup at home, joystick, stick, and everything. So this pilot, we have a green flag. This pilot, this is Norcali, and he's incredibly experienced. He pushed me all last year. We both flew in Spec class as well as in the Unlimited class. And there's very few pilots that can match up to his skills. So let's see what he can do with a maul. I've not seen him fly a maul before, so this should be really interesting. And away he goes. Looked to be up before I say that's the 200 line. It's difficult to tell. There you go. Oh, look to be up even sooner. There you go. This is what you will see quite often while simming. I know we have some of our pilots that prefer to be in virtual reality. They'll have the headsets on, and some of our pilots prefer to have the flat screen in front of them. Oh, I think we might have Burstix back at any moment. Okay, let's see what Norcali can do here. Obviously, a lot of these Spec planes, these pilots won't be used to flying them. Though I know for a fact that Norcali would have been practicing in this, finding out it's little. Oh, and it looks like it was a scratch. And that goes to show he's pushing it as hard as he can. Let's see what Wes can do. And I can tell you, as a pilot, watching that, and then getting that first scratch. It can have an effect on you. Oh, Wes has ballooned it a little bit, but coming in, burying that. Oh, and nose bouncing off of the floor. Unfortunately, that'll be a black flag for him. That means that he needs to take that plane back to the pits, where we'll have somebody take a look at its engine. So it looks like Norcali will just have two more chances to put in a decent distance. Actually, that leads to an interesting thing. If he scratches both times, can we have it that nobody wins? That would be, I think that'd be a first. Okay. See, he can afford to be a bit more conservative with it now. Obviously, he doesn't have anybody else to compete against. Now all he's competing against is himself. And if I know Norcali, he will still do his best to put on the best show he can to show us what this mall can really do. I have to say, this mall in the yellow and black livery is it's a gorgeous plane. But I have to say, one thing I've always thought about the mall is it's a plane that's been designed by two different designers starting at different ends, and they somehow met in the middle. At the front, you have a very practical bush plane with the big engine cowling and things out front, and then the tail is all curved and elegant, and it's it's a funny one, but I quite like it. I can tell you right now, Wes would definitely, as a pilot who has black flagged themselves before, Wes is going to be kicking himself. Norcali has those big barn door flaps down, hanging it all out. Gave up a little distance. It gets it stopped really quickly.
So I don't know if my
And
mic
that
is
will
back,
be
but I
a winning time.
It's back.
Ah, you're back, Bustix. Hello. I can
had to-
hear you
guess that
now.
maybe all right. I think the call might have went stale or something. I'm not sure, but I just left the call and came back. But I'm noticing that one of the judges is I think we might have. I think if Callie gets a score, it might be over, right? If everybody else scratched.
I'm not sure what they're going to decide to do. I don't know. We'll see if I think Callie's now taking it back to the pits after his second run. So yeah, I think his second run was good enough.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think of it this way because basically, if Wes Campbell and Brown Dog had a score already, well then Norcali would have had to beat that score. But because they didn't have a score and they both got black flags in the initial round, then all Norcali has to do is get a score. And I think it's because if Wes Campbell and Brown Dog get a score before they get a black flag or essentially, damage their plane to some way where they can't compete, which is what basically a black flag is, then their scores previous to that event would count. But because they got it in the first round, it seems like Norcali's just going to have an easy day at the park.
Yeah. even so, you could still see him trying his hardest to throw in a decent measure, showing that mall what it can do.
Yeah, and that's NorCali. He's always going to be doing his best. He's always going to be trying his hardest. And I think we do have a still picture of Cam up on the camera, guys. So Cam hasn't just been sitting like that for the last 5 times you've seen his face up on the camera. It is a still picture, which brings me back to the very beginning of my Twitch stream. Some of you guys will remember this, but when I used to have to go take a break or whatever, I would put a still picture of myself up on there so we would still get raids. And then we would try to see like if people would notice see how long it took people to notice if it was a still picture or not. So we're not trying to fool anybody. We know Cam is actually unavailable at the moment. He had to leave for a minute. And he might not be back for this competition, but you still have Kat and I to let you know that NorCali just won the easiest run of his life. He got lucky. While 2 other people got unlucky, Callie, he got lucky.
So does that mean up next we're going to have the final class, the Unlimiteds?
Yep, so Unlimited is going to be up next, and gotta love that view. I made a video for SwampSTOL last year, and this was one of my favorite parts about the video is all the planes lined up. As you can see, this first row here is our competitors, is the row with our competitors in it, and they're going to be taxiing up here in just a second for the last round. This is the Unlimited class, guys. This is the class that everybody loves, everybody's been waiting for. And you're going to see some high action, short takeoff and landing. These guys, some of the best pilots in the entire competition, choose to fly in Unlimited because that's the class that you can take it to the limits. And when you think of planes, you think, what do you need? 3,000, 4,000, 7,000, 10,000 foot runways? Not these guys. These guys only require sometimes 10 feet. Some of the greatest pilots in the history of the country, maybe even the history of the world, flying for national eSTOL in the Unlimited class. They don't need no 10,000 foot runway, baby. They only need, well, our runway's 600 feet, so let's just say they need 600 feet to compete, right?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. You will notice a noticeable absence of the plane that won last year, the Zenith CH701. Nobody's competing in that this year. They've decided to remove it. So some of our Zenith pilots are now trying other things. I think Shader is going to be in the NX Cup.
I love that billboard there. That's 2024 season opener SwampSTOL. You guys are at it right now, enjoying the final class, guys. So lock in and load up. We're ready to go for the Unlimited class. See all the trophies sitting on the desk, ready to go out to the pilots that won. But I tell you what, SwampSTOL, one of my favorite places I've ever been in life is Jennings, Louisiana. It's a great little town, a great little place, and while we're there virtually right now, they just had the IRL event last week. And I'll tell you what, man, it was, according to Cam, it was a lot less rainy than it was last year. Because, I mean, in 2024, there was planes getting stuck. But it was so much fun, you know. It was just a good time all around. I think my favorite thing from my favorite thing from the 2024 my favorite thing from the 2024 SwampSTOL, the IRL one, was that Bertha. There was a, I can't remember the exact plane, but it was a twin Beechcraft plane, and watching that thing take off, I mean, I could not believe seeing a twin Beechcraft plane take off in such a short amount of space. But anyway, to introduce the pilots here, Kat, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Wes Campbell back again after his black flag. He'll be flying in the Kit Fox competition Kit Fox alongside Norcali, also now in a competition Kit Fox. So he's jumped out of his beloved Cub and is now also in the Comp Fox. And Sarah as well in the Comp Fox. And then we... who else do we have? Let's have a look. Sorry, 2 moments.
I'm not sure who exactly was in that class, but looks like we have Wes Campbell, Norcali J, Luke Carrier, Sarah Eggleton, Cedric P, James Beatty, MP Troll, Sub B, and Moby Wong. Those are all the competitors today. They will be split up. 6 of them will be flying in the first heat, and the rest of them will be flying in the second heat. So it looks like we'll have a heat of 6, and then once that's over, a heat of 9. All those numbers from both heats will be competing against each other. But really interesting here, you look at the list of pilots, and you have Wes competing from Texas, Cali's in Norcali J, well, he's in Cali, California. Luke Carrier competing from Ohio, Sarah Eggleton competing from the beautiful UK, Cedric P competing from Germany, James Beatty competing from South Carolina, MP Troll from Australia, Sub B from Oregon, and Moby Wong from San Jose, California. And so as we await the green flag, the pilots are getting into place. Everybody's getting everything ready. I want to tell everybody that's watching, I appreciate everybody who came in today, and we still have the Unlimited class in its entirety. So don't go anywhere just yet, but I want to say thank you for coming in and watching the first event of the 2025 season of the National eSTOL. And I do want to throw a little congratulation to ADK, because ADK stepped up to do, he runs the stream now. And so this is his first time. Hey, there he is. This is his first time running the stream. He's had practice, but this is his first time running the stream. And I was nervous for him. After seeing Tom do this, it is, what's going on behind the scenes is very intricate. So very awesome to see ADK be able to come in here and work this out. And he's going to be, he might even be better than Tom, just give it a little time. Luke Carrier choosing to fly the nose wheel variant of the X Cub, which is also known as the NX Cub. Looks like it's smiling at you.
It does.
Oh, and I noticed it, Kat, it's the Monster NX Cub, so that means it has nitrous, right?
This one does have the nitrous, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
It's a Monster NX Cub from Got Friends.
So O&O Loves Rice mentioned in the Twitch stream that the cat, and you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Got Friends cat that they had that would sit on the seat. But ADK's got like the real life version of that in his room there, the control room of the National eSTOL. But yeah, it's really cool, man. It's a new era. We have used to be Tom ran all of the stream, and he's got so much experience doing that, and it's like really actually kind of flawless coming over and having ADK do it. And I mean, couple little quirks with our mics and stuff, and but other than that, I mean, geez, I can't believe the transition went so well. I'm happy, and that frees up Tom, and it kind of really puts National eSTOL. It's kind of like taking off the training wheels, and now we're kind of doing our own thing, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really good. Glad to see ADK stepping up. We talked about it at Sun and Fun, and yeah, I mean, we were all nervous too, but everything is good to go as we can see, and I'm very happy to be here. Very happy to be with you guys, and we've got a green flag for the unlimited class.
So Wes Campbell, welcome back, by the way, Cam. So Wes Campbell
Thank you, sir.
switching up his livery a little bit this year. He's in the same plane. I do like this livery, but I miss the OG Taco Delight. I love that livery, the Taco Delight with the little taco boy on it.
Oh man, yeah, that livery was awesome. I'm glad to see Rockstar. He did Rockstar very well. It is Rockstar, or is it a version of Rockstar?
I don't know. I'm not sure actually. Maybe he is sponsored by Rockstar. Who knows?
Yeah.
And just taking off right into the wind. You know, you see the plane tilted sideways. It always reminds me of when I was a kid, like monster trucks would, you know, turn their back wheels and drive essentially sideways. That was always what that reminds me of. But, you know, he's flying straight, using the wind to his advantage to get that lift. And you can see we're on board with Wes Campbell. Got to see a little action from his desk, what he's seeing there.
Yeah, I got a really cool
Looks like
microphone.
he has.
Right.
Oh yeah. Norcali in the OG Norcali livery, taking off in just a few feet. And we'll have some numbers for you guys here in just a second. What do you guys think about the pilot cams in the chat, guys? If you like to see the pilot cams as viewers of the eSTOL, let us know. We'd love to see the pilot cams, especially Smitty's with that big rig he's got. Luke Carrier blasting away in the NX Cub. Shirley with the nitrous on. One thing I'll say though, Luke, is don't forget to turn the nitrous off. Because if you forget to turn the nitrous off, you probably aren't going to be able to land very short. Too much thrust.
Too much.
I have to say, I do really enjoy Sarah's livery. It's based off of a UK ambulance, and it's a very fetching, very interesting livery. Don't see
How
many
do you know that?
planes painted up to look like a little ambulance.
How do you know that, Cat? Are you from
Insider
the UK?
knowledge, you see. Insider knowledge, yes, indeed.
Ooh.
So an interesting fact about Sarah, she has loved flying since she was a little girl. She used to fly RC planes, and one of her favorite RC planes that she flew was known as the High Boy Trainer, and it's basically just a little bush RC plane, and she started flying that at 14. But she got started into bush flying with the bush divers, which that is something that I see a lot in the liveries and things like that, but has lots of STOL landings at bush strips. And basically someone invited her into the National eSTOL. A friend invited her. So Sarah, thanks for flying with us. The pilot cam from Wes Campbell coming in on the landing.
Ooh, you can hear him modulating the throttle.
Oh.
Ooh. Yes.
Beautiful.
That's just, what is that? A little bit over 20 feet? 25 feet maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, and he gave up some, so I mean, he still has room for improvement. Not that that's not that he needs it, but you know, that right there, folks, you might have even seen that might even be the winning the landing right there. I don't want to say the show's over though, because we still have too many pilots to go yet.
Yeah, but that was a
But you can
spectacular
see
landing.
Oh yeah. And you can see these, you know, these planes, the unlimited planes are specifically built, and I want to give a huge shout out to Parallel 42. That might have been a scratch, Norcali. Remember, they have to land over the line. They can't land on the line anymore. That's a rule change that happened last year. So it's been in effect for a long time, but still nice to note. Some people new here might not know, but they do have to land over the line. They can't land on that beginning line. But I do want to give a
Race
big shout out to
control,
Parallel 42 for, you know, really grabbing the bull by the horns and, you know, modding one of their planes, which they gave to current owners of the Kit Fox from Parallel 42. They gave that to the current owners or people who already owned the plane. They gave it to them for free. So it was an update to the plane, but, you know, they grabbed the bull by the horns. They really made another plane that was really competitive for the eSTOL series. And, you know, there wasn't an official word that, you know, Edson did it just for eSTOL, but I mean, the first picture that I saw when they were teasing it did have a national eSTOL flag in the background. So if that gives away anything, so huge thanks and shout out to Parallel 42 and getting us this beautiful Kit Fox without the cowling and without the doors. A little less weight, little more performance.
Shout out to Edson and the team at Parallel 42. I know you just did the shout out, but this is a personal shout out to him. I had a chance of meeting him last year when they were working on a somewhat secret project at the time, but I think the cat's out of the bag. So we were all at Bird's Adventure Center, and they were getting all the information and numbers for the Patriot Super Patriot Mark II.
Yeah, super excited for that. I got to check into the timeline on that. By the way, number 99, Luke Carrier, it seemed almost as if he came in a little bit fast, but man, he was able to get the plane stopped in no time at all. Very competitive landing from Luke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got a lot of black and yellow on the field.
Coming in.
And Luke just, I don't know if Luke meant to do that, but it looks like Luke just drove right in front of Sarah. Not too close, of course.
He did mean to do that. He did mean to do that. That's because he did the go around, but he's just trying to slot himself back into the running order.
Oh, okay. So
It's all part of the ballet that they do here at National eSTOL. These pilots will practice beforehand. We have a whole training program, and it's all, you know, gives you a good grounding in ground handling and how we move these aircraft around, getting these aircraft to and from the line. Yeah, it's all part of that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about it is the ballet, as you say, of keeping timing with all the other planes, because, you know, you have one plane take off, the next plane takes off, all of a sudden 6 planes are up in the air. 30 seconds after the last plane leaves, the first plane that took off is landing, and it's just one beautiful ballet of planes flying around in the sky trying to land and take off as short as possible. And don't forget, guys, even if you don't want to... or Callie. Even if you don't want to compete, but you want to just maybe get some practice, you know, try your luck and then maybe decide if you want to come compete later, you can pick up all of these airstrips, including this one, on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, right in the official store. Just look for the keyword eSTOL, and you'll find all these airstrips, including the one here at SwampSTOL, beautifully crafted by Anov.
They are also all compatible with 2024 as well, so when we make the changeover to 2024, when its multiplayer issues are fixed, the same sceneries will all be there and available.
Nice. So it seems as if so essentially, Kat, you could purchase, and they're only $4.99 by the way, USD. So essentially, you could purchase the airstrips in 2020 and then use them in 2024.
I think so. I'm not sure. I don't think the 2024. I think you may have to purchase them separately. But Anov's making it so one purchase of $4.99 I think gets you pretty much all the courses. So we try to make the barrier to entry for eSTOL as low as possible.
Yeah, I mean, the work on them is beautiful, though. These are high quality sceneries, and really, I mean, if you wanna pick them up, they're not very expensive. Honestly, they should be. I think I would pay up to $10.99 even for them, but only $4.99, and you can get them on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. It says they should be on. Actually, got word from Anov. They should all be on both, but the newest package is not yet on 2024, but it will be soon. But you should be able to get all of them.
Scratch from Wes. Ooh.
Oh man,
You could see he was really trying there.
he was fighting that for sure.
Yeah, scratch. But hey, he was ripping it. He was going for it. If you're not seeing scratches, in my opinion, the pilots aren't trying hard enough.
Truth.
And yeah, anybody can land over a line and stop, but can anybody land over a line and stop in 30, 40, 50 feet when we're talking unlimited class here with a little bit of wind? No, not just anybody. That's why you'll see a scratch. These guys are trying to hit just over that line, and it's a little hard to control. Another scratch. Norcali.
Yeah, another scratch from Norcali as well. And I've just had
Very
a
talented
birdie
pilot.
tweet in my ear. I've just had a birdie tweet in my ear saying you don't need to buy them again. If you have them for 2020, they migrate over to 2024 as well. So that's a one-time purchase of
Awesome.
$4.99, and that gets you all of the beautiful sceneries made by Anov.
Yep, that's amazing. It's crazy to think about all the people that are involved in eSTOL and how it really is its own thing now. And what would it be like if we didn't have Anov? What would it be like if we didn't have the cats, the 80Ks, the pilots, the viewers? Everybody that is involved in this, man. You guys all make it so I want to keep coming in and announcing it, even though I haven't been doing a lot of flight sim lately because of my busy life. This is something I still always look forward to.
Wow, that landing from Sarah, though, that was amazing. She stalled that and just put every ounce of energy she had straight into the ground.
Yeah, barely any roll on that landing.
I do believe Parallel 42 updated the brakes as well on that. As well as also it having smaller fuel tanks. There was many modifications that you could also make to a Kitfox in real life if you was to make the ultimate STOL Kitfox. It was made to this plane as well.
Yeah, and that's something that onboard cam with Wes, so you get to see the inside of this Kitfox and see Wes's actual point of view here. Got the Airstreak bush wheels. Green flag. And you can see he's got holding back on that stick, pushing forward on the throttle. Just preloading that plane to take off into the wind here. Oh, actually, that is Wes's plane. Someone else has their plane. I'm actually hearing another plane. I thought that was Wes's plane, but no. That Kitfox actually sounds a bit different than that.
Yeah, maybe
I'm
we're
not sure
hearing
whose plane
the,
we're hearing in the background.
Maybe we're hearing the NX Cub, maybe? Because you're right, the Kitfox should have a Rotax on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it is the NX Cub that we're hearing, which is like, Lycoming or something?
Yeah, should be, I believe, Lycoming.
Oh, yeah, so Luke Carrier. That is, yep. That's the plane that we heard. He must have had his throttle at half staff. of
I
modulate
love the
through
fact that we
the
have
throttle
audio.
settings.
It's so cool.
And good, that's one of the interesting things, and it's one of the things that I was really focused on for a little bit is doing audio for the flight sim, and I love it still. I really need to find the time to get back into it because it's so interesting how they're able to get the sound from actual planes into the flight simulator. It's a lot more intricate than anybody would think. It's very interesting, that's for sure. Sarah Eggleton thinking she's a helicopter, taking right off up into the sky.
Climbing like a homesick angel for sure.
Yeah, trying to get back up to heaven. And I'll tell you what, Norcali has got to be in heaven right now with his numbers because he looks like he's leading the pack. 21-foot takeoff in the beginning, the first round, 19-foot landing. That's the best score so far. He's also got the best score in the second round.
And what we have, Norcali number 1, Wes Campbell number 2, Sarah Eggleton number 3, and in 4th place, Luke Carrier at the moment. But this is the first heat of Unlimited. We do have another heat on the way, but Norcali throwing it down.
So we did have a little bit of a break there. Looks like our judge actually had to do a little reset on his PC, so we do have the judge back now. And what a landing from Wes Campbell. No scratch.
Yeah.
The wing dip a little bit, but not enough to touch the ground. So that might take over. Norcali might be not in heaven anymore.
Yeah, so update on the weather. We got winds out of the 140 at 9, gusting at 19 knots. So with that gust, we probably had a gust that just dropped. And that's why we saw that right wing drop on Wes Campbell.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like the perfect circumstance for Wes, because you have that gust that's, helping him stay up in the air and fly a little bit slower, and then if the gust drops like that, it's going to be... Oh, we do have a red flag.
Yeah, wonder what's going on with that. We did have a go-around just a moment ago. Maybe Wes is... Can't imagine him having mechanical issues right now. Maybe he's in place while we get our judges back so we can get numbers. And he's on go.
Yeah, I think he was holding in place there so the judge could get the numbers.
Awesome. Man, it looks like the wind is picking up really, really hardcore. You could probably see him taxiing in the background, and some of those wings are coming up.
Yeah, in the real life competitions, you have wing walkers for that, but unfortunately, they don't have anything like that in the flight sim. It'd be pretty. Someone could do it. I mean, they make deckhands for the aircraft carriers and stuff, so someone could probably get us some wing walkers. But how often would we actually use them? Would it be worth it? I don't know.
It might be. I know that when we have Pinedale happen, it will probably be a situation of high winds, especially out west.
So I do have a pretty interesting comment here in the Twitch chat. Backcountry Sim Pilot says he spoke with Trent Palmer at Sun and Fun, and he's saying Trent would like Parallel 42 to do his new plane. So Trent did sell the Freedom Fox. And I think it sold for like $270,000 or $240,000 or something like that. It's a great price, to get out of that plane. But that plane is kind of a legacy, But he did sell it. He's now got a Legend Cub, and
Yes,
so
Legend
hopefully
Nomad.
we'll be seeing. Yeah, hopefully we'll be seeing Trent's new plane in the sim, and I'm all for Parallel 42 doing it. Now this is coming from Twitch chat, so this is nothing official, but I do trust Backcountry Sim Pilot's word, and he said he talked to Trent, and Trent wants him to do it, so hopefully we'll be seeing that. Who's for new bush planes? Everybody? Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, on a Legend Cub with a 916 in it. I mean, like with a Rotax 916. I mean, that's a perfect pairing. And in the game,
I did not know they put I didn't even know they put Rotaxes in. Is that typical? That's not what typically
no, that's
the Legend Cubs will use, is it?
No, not at all. That is a new addition for them. So he has, I believe, the first Nomad. Yeah, I'll take one too. Darren and Randy,
so
if you're listening, I will absolutely take one.
The Nomad, is that, isn't that like I'm trying to think of the guy's name, but he's a national STOL pilot, a real life pilot. He flies like a blue and silver. I think it's called a Nomad, isn't it?
Blue and silver.
Oh, I wish I could think of the guy's name. He's a younger kid. He's got blonde hair. I think he had a mullet last year.
Yeah, I'm going back in the Rolodex in my mind, and I'm not placing anything, but I don't. Maybe he named it the Nomad, but I think.
Well, I want to say that Backcountry Traveler or something.
Oh, you're talking about the Badlands Traveler, the BLT, the bacon, lettuce, and tomato.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Not the same plane.
Not the same plane, but that's the plane that I want in the game so bad. I want to see some competitors flying the Badlands Traveler because it is absolutely one of my favorite. Yeah. Oh, okay, NorCali.
Very nearly scratched that, but saved it with a bit of a balloon at the last moment.
Maybe a little throttle, maybe a tiny bit of thrust. Who knows?
I think with the gusts out there as well, it can be very difficult. One minute you think you're settled in and everything's fine, and then the wind drops out from underneath you, and then it pulls one wing up. It's like they said earlier, the winds out there today are a little spicy.
Ooh, that was really close for Luke Carrier. I don't know if he touched the line.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a scratch or not. We'll have to wait and see for the judge that.
Man, all of these landings are great this round.
And that was amazing from Sarah.
Seriously.
Sarah. Wow. And she's a rather new pilot as well, and she's just rising up the ranks. Citizen 42 cheering on NorCali. Citizen 42 says, "Nice one, Cali." I love to see everybody in the chat cheering on their pilots. It's pretty cool. It's an e-sport, right? But these pilots are all real people, and they kind of take on their own following. So people come in here to watch them, and I'm happy you guys do it. It really makes me smile thinking about we're doing something that we created a couple of years ago, and it's just taking on its own life, and I love it, man. Everybody loves to come in here and watch their favorite pilots. We got Kat here announcing with us. How cool is that, We got Anov in the background. He says, "I love eSTOL," holding up the sign. So standings, we have NorCali J, best takeoff and landing, 40 feet. Wes Campbell, 40 feet, tied. A tie.
Tied at the top for 40 feet.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Don't we do like a runoff here or something like that, Kat? It's been a little while since we've had a tie, and I don't remember.
I don't think we've had
Sarah
a tie
at
for
68.
first before. I think
And
we
Luke
did have a
Carrier at
runoff
89.
when we. I think we had a runoff back at the fall, if I remember rightly.
Yeah,
and
I
we
think
had
it was.
come out.
I think it was the Pine. Not Pinedale. It was in the eastern part of the U.S. I can't remember the exact name of the airport, but either way, we'll find out for sure. What's that, Kat?
Was it Heritage STOL?
No,
the
I
Jimmy
think
Either
it
had
was
to
the
be
one
Heritage
after
or
that.
Appalachian Mountain Stole.
I think it
Pennsylvania.
was Appalachian Mountain Stalls where we had that runoff, but not to. We don't. I guess I don't know for sure what's going to happen with that, but we did have the tie for first place. We'll see if they're going to do a runoff with it and let them rip again. We don't know.
Or
All
alternatively, the second half of the STOL class could come out and beat that 40 feet. And this is number 39 with the Braundo livery, which is good fun. Maybe he'll do it in 39
Yeah.
feet.
I haven't seen that movie. What is that movie called? Future? Something about the future?
I think it's Idiocracy film school.
Idiocracy.
Yes.
Yeah, I should watch that
Yeah.
tonight. I'm gonna watch Idiocracy tonight.
Oh, bro, it's a great movie. You have to watch it for sure. It's one of those cult classics. If you're cool
I mean,
and you know
basically,
pop
I could just
culture,
basically I could just go out like to any place in the United States right now, and we'd be like basically living that, right? I feel like I'm joking, but I feel like a lot of people have been saying that recently. Like, Idiocracy has finally come alive.
yeah.
They compare
I'm
it with
digging
like the
this
George
Coast Guard
Orwell's
livery.
1984.
Oh man, yeah. That's a good read as
Coast
well.
Guard.
Yeah,
This is
I believe
this
the
is
Coast
actually one
Guard-
of the.
Yeah, I believe it's a default livery, isn't it, for the Godfrey
Yep.
Savage?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
That's
wow.
actually what I was gonna say.
That's cool. Now I'm gonna have to look to see if the Coast Guard ever flew any Super Cubs, because that would be very interesting.
Yeah, they might have. I mean, as a spotter plane or something like that. It'd be interesting to
I
know,
mean, that would
Cam,
make
if you can
sense.
find that information.
Yeah, we can figure that out very quickly. We do have the technology.
Coming up next is this is actually the default cub that you can get, the default Savage cub that you can get in the sim. The previous ones
I
are
need your
all
expertise.
are all modified by Got Friends. Yep, go ahead.
I need your expertise, Kat. Is this going to be competitive? The default's Lynn Savage.
Yes, absolutely. This is competitive. I
Okay,
was
we'll be
watching it
watching it.
yesterday. They did have 26 knot winds yesterday, and it was a helicopter. It's incredibly light. So yes, this is going to be competitive.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting take on what you choose to fly. Look at that, a view from the booth. That's great, because I've actually done a little bit of casting at one of the real life events, and that's about what you see when you're at the real life event. So
Yeah, it
pretty darn
really
cool.
is.
We can recreate that here. Moby Wong. Actually, I don't think this is Moby Wong, because that's not an NX Cub. Sub B in the Savage Gravel. Another default livery for the Savage Gravel. This plane, one of the OG Bush planes that everybody was flying around near the beginning of kind of the Bush takeover of Microsoft Flight Sim. Compliments of Got Friends. They have modified that plane throughout the years, and one of the things I love about Got Friends is they really never give up on their older aircraft. They will usually dig back into their bag of tricks and go backwards, implementing those things into their older aircraft, and I love that. That's a freeware aircraft for most people. If you're on Xbox, you do have to pay a small price for it, but you can get it on Xbox, that and 5 other planes. Now we have Moby Wong.
And that's the one.
In.
That's the one with the nitrous, correct?
Yes, the NX Cub. As long as it's the Monster NX Cub with the nitrous.
And the gravel as well. The gravel has nitrous too. So, apart from the default cub, everything on this lineup has nitrous.
Yeah. Talk about a party.
So I'm looking up the Coast Guard history of their aircraft fleet from the past, and Super Cubs were not in. What they are saying is that civilians have helped out the Coast Guard in their Super Cubs, in their own personal Super Cubs for search and rescue missions. It does look like at one point in time, in 1948, they did operate the Stinson OY-1 and OY-2 Sentinel, which looks to be Stinson 108 maybe, but that looks like it was the only high-wing aircraft that they had at the time, tail dragger configuration.
So it's just kind of a fantasy tip of the hat kind of livery, but nonetheless cool to see the Coast Guard livery on the Savage Gravel. We are green, folks. The green flag for Cedric P. in the Brondo livery. Gonna hear that plane ripping away from the ground here shortly with the nitrous. All the thrust you could ever ask for.
In thrust we trust.
That's true. That's what it says on all my money.
Oh man, that's a good one.
One nation under thrust. Looks like James is choosing to start a little back behind the line.
Ooh, okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, look at
That
that.
was amazing.
Rocket. I didn't think they allowed rockets in the National STOL. What's going on here?
I mean, it looked like it had some JADO tanks somewhere in there, some anti-grav technology.
Yeah, we're going to have the judges tear apart that plane to find them. No, that's what a big prop in nitrous will do. And a V6 Mustang engine, of course, because that's the engine in that plane.
What did we just see? What is that?
That's the default Savage with the wind.
That
I was
to
watching
me
him
might
do that
be.
all day yesterday.
I'm sorry. Oh, the Croco, the Gator, baby. I love that thing. SwampSTOL. Yeah, I think they'll be looking at that stock Zlin a little closely. It's it reminds me of some of the other planes that are now banned for this year from last year. Some of those planes that are let's just say maybe a little unrealistic. I mean, unless we have like a 40-mile-an-hour wind, I don't think that's actually capable of doing what you just saw. But hey, it's the flight simulator. What do we say?
Yeah. I'm thinking.
I would say 95% of the planes that we use are very, very close to real life accurate numbers, but every once in a while there will be one that kind of slips in there that we didn't realize.
Yeah.
And that's all part of it as well. Slowly refining over time and making it as good a show as we can.
Yeah, weather update for the winds at least. We've got winds out of the 160 at 9 knots, gusting 17. So I don't think that's enough wind for that performance that we just saw, but I'm still flabbergasted by it. And Cedric just slamming it in, which is perfect, especially for the nose wheel NX Cub. Looks like a 80-foot landing. He's going to be happy with that performance.
80-foot landing.
James is on short final. Short final.
Ooh.
Giving a little. Yeah, I know.
A bit of a
Oh,
balloon there,
wow.
but still gets it
Yeah,
stopped.
there we go.
Yeah, what is that? Just a little bit over 40, 45 feet maybe? Yeah, somewhere around there. That is interesting. To say the least. That was that balloon up made me think that he was going to give up a little bit more on that landing.
Yeah, when you're
but,
regaining control, you know, a couple hundred feet in front of where you need to land at, it is tough to like regain that composure, but he was able to do it. And
Oh!
we do have a bit
That'd
of a
be a
nose
black
over.
flag.
Black flag. And this
That
is
would
the
have been an
first
amazing
run, right?
Yeah. Is it? I think. Either way, that was
It looks like
almost a very spectacular Dan Reynolds-esque landing.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like a warning has been issued to Sub B. I think he was told to do a go around, but there may have been not communicated. I'm not sure exactly, but all is safe. We do have a nose over. Again, this is a simulator, so you know, obviously we try to still keep high quality safety standards, but we do. There is sometimes connection issues, stuff like that, where it's a sim, so we're safe, but. We did have a nose over, so a black flag disqualified MP Troll and the Zlin Savage, and then Sub B came in. I think he was supposed to do a go around.
And Moby Wong putting it in what looks like 45-ish feet. But yeah, thanks for elaborating that this is not in real life. This is eSTOL. This is in Microsoft Flight Simulator, because in the past, I believe National STOL was contacted by the FAA for an eSTOL competitor that did a nose over, and they were inquiring as to why and how safety standards weren't upheld in the competition, even though it was Microsoft Flight Simulator. So sometimes we have to put that out there for sure, because some people will think that this is real life.
Well, that
Wow.
goes to show exactly how good the simulator has become, doesn't it? That people are
It's a test
mistaking it for real life, and we're getting reported to the FAA for what we do in
not
here.
only
Yeah.
not only just people, but a real live government agency.
So that's a true story or what? I never even heard
Oh,
this
that's 100% true. Yeah. We got
wow.
we got contacted from the FAA
the
over
beast
eSTOL.
the beast I helped create. Never did I think that when I started doing backyard competitions in the flight simulator with no affiliation to National STOL, that one day we'd be affiliated with National STOL and getting the FAA called on us about fake planes in a simulator. Wow. Puts a smile on my face. Well, I hope National STOL didn't get any real guff for that.
No, I'm pretty sure that was all mulled over, and I wonder how the guy on the other line felt, or the gal on the other line felt, calling in
When she
with official business. Because, I mean, in real life, the FAA has to call out, they actually have to investigate every incident that's reported to them.
Yeah.
So even if it
It's
is
redundancy.
fake, they literally do have to call out.
The amount of redundancy built into aviation is good, though. You know, I mean, it's needed. You know, you have to have the redundancy in many different areas of aviation. Otherwise, you know, there wouldn't be as much learning from accidents and mistakes and things like that, and so makes aviation safer.
I'm sure once they realised it was a simulator, the fellas in the FAA's office had a good giggle over that. I can imagine.
Oh yeah, they just like Bursty was talking about how our sim pilots are real people, the FAA is real people, and I've I haven't had firsthand experience with the call with the FAA, but I've got friends that have, and once they figure out something is not what all it's seen, everyone on the other line is pretty much smiles and cheers and having a good time. So it's very rare that some of those FAA agents really come down with the hammer and are really what everybody thinks that they might be over the phone. But yeah, I have to agree with you in that instance. I bet you they were all laughing in the office for sure.
Yeah. I haven't followed many of the FAA stories and stuff like that. The only one I've followed recently is like the one with Trent Palmer, and that is a kind of a weird case, you know. I mean, it's definitely something where I think, you know, Trent probably feels like it should have come out differently, you know, because the way that it seems as if he was just trying to be safe, you know, You gotta look at where you're landing. But so I kind of thought maybe it would go the other way, but I'm glad we got off without a hitch for the whole flight simulator thing. It's just a flight sim.
Yep.
Citizen42 from the Twitch chat. He is one of the OG bush flyers in the bush flying community. I met him in Kando's community. He says, challenging winds, that gust factor is the worst, and you're darn right, buddy. When you're flying in at a steady, you know, 8, 9, 10 knots, and then you have a gust of 17 knots, that might just throw all the planning you did from 500 feet up all the way down to the ground. Might throw all that planning out the window. James Beatty up and off into the sky.
Right, I think he just brought that tail back down just a bit too soon.
Yep.
I
don't know if
Probably
that was even an intentional. I think it may be a loss of thrust or something, because I don't think I don't know if he actually. It just seemed so early that I don't know if he even pulled back. I think almost it was like a loss of thrust. It's hard to control a plane. I mean, you see it in real life where the pilots will get up on the front wheels. Almost looks like their prop is going to be cutting the grass. There is a lot of actually, even the real close ones, they look closer than they actually are. There's a lot of room between the prop and the ground when the pilots are doing that, but it's hard to control. It's not something that, it takes a lot of skill to learn how to balance a plane on the front wheels using thrust and elevators. And maybe if it's a little crosswind, maybe even a little bit of aileron in there to keep her straight. And maybe a little rudder too, depending on the wind. But either way,
I think Ryan Dombrowski tells a story about when he was learning in the J3 Cub that he was having issues with wheel landings, and so his flight instructor told him to get in the plane, and then flight instructor got behind the plane and picked the tail up to show Ryan what the sight picture was and how far away the prop was actually from the ground. And then of course Ryan's wheel landings became phenomenal afterwards. But you kind of have to have that sight picture in order to feel comfortable. Honestly, I always figured that would be like part of the training. You know, you get in the plane and then someone picks up the tail, because the tail is very light. My tail is 69 pounds, so I mean it's very easy to do, but I think that was an awesome training aid, and I think it needs to be something that's done regularly. Ooh.
I don't know
what a recovery.
I don't know if he touched down back there or not.
It's going to be close. We're going to have to find out from race control if he touched the ground, but if not, good save.
Seriously. Under review.
And as we thought, under review. So we'll find out if he touched the ground before the line. No line violation, safe. So good run.
Wow, it's good.
Cedric.
There we go.
Oh no, another nose over.
Well, at least he did that after he had a good score on the board. His last one was last landing was pretty good, so he does have the ability to use the scores that were counted before the black flag, so he's not out completely. He still could place. He still could even win depending on the other scores.
Yeah, hopefully James gets the call for a go around. There we go, go around.
Yep, he's
Sub B's
going around. So
yeah.
good to note. Because last time
Oh, that was sub B.
It was
sorry.
That's crazy. Two different people, but the same guy having to do the go around.
Yeah.
He just got unlucky twice.
He might be getting dizzy at this
But at least
point.
he's not the one black flag.
Oh, I love that. Getting dizzy from a 360. Or not really a 360. I guess it's really a 180, but in real life, probably doing a 360 to slow up enough for somebody in front of you.
That may have been
I
a
think that
scratch.
was a scratch.
Okay.
Good landing,
That was a
though.
scratch.
But yep, called scratch. Actually, good stop, but not a good landing according to the rules of National eSTOL. He has to land after the line, and unfortunately, he landed before the line. But Moby
the
Wong,
idea-
a new pilot with us.
Yeah, an idea is the STOL line, the reference line as it's called in the rule books, is that last little bit of that first little bit of sand on a sandbar, and you don't want to land in front of it, otherwise you go into the drink and not hit the sandbar.
Yeah, and maybe you'll nose over, and it's not good.
Yeah.
But Moby Wong, though, his one score, the score that he does have on the board is pretty good. I mean, the takeoff is one of the best. And the landing, pretty competitive. So, Moby Wong might be looking at decent placing.
Moby actually started at Expo.
Which is great. I mean, the NX
For a
Cubs,
new pilot, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the NX Cubs kind of have an advantage with that nose wheel. Honestly, I mean, he's going to put it in the same attitude as a tail wheel on takeoff, especially with the shape of the fuselage. He's got a lot of room to pull back on the stick and to allow the wing to catch some air, to catch some lift, similar to the Zenith. Zenith's
And with
body
with
is
the nitrous, you know, he's got a lot more
too.
ability
helps.
to pull a lot earlier than other planes that might not have nitrous in them because he's got more thrust, so he's going to be able to kind of power through that. If you're watching on YouTube, though, guys, don't forget to hit the like button. It always helps out the stream, gets the word of National eSTOL out there to more people, so don't forget to smack the like button. You don't have to smack it, but at least hit it. And let us know how you're doing, guys, in the chat. If you're loving the show, let us know who you want to win. Who'd you come here to watch? Let us know what your favorite plane is, you know.
All right. That takeoff was everything that we'd expect. Very short. It's like sub B's on the takeoff roll with a sub 40-foot takeoff. Moby Wong pulling up to the line, putting those mains on the line. It's not measured from the nose gear, it's measured from the mains. Oh, that's ridiculous.
That's the power of that nitrous engine. Look at it go.
Kat, are you missing competing, seeing all these short takeoffs?
I've got to admit, there is the itch there. I'm sure this evening I'll be jumping into the simulator to go and Go and see what these conditions are like to fly in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have my own little
I
competition
know.
against myself.
I know the feeling, Kat. Maybe if I had time, I would say you and I would just have a little competition against each other, but I'm not going to have time to hop into the flight simulator tonight. But I do know the feeling, because when I first started doing the announcing and, went to full-time announcing, and, I wasn't competing because I was helping out in many different areas. I didn't think it'd be fair for someone, at my level inside of National eSTOL, doing all the work I was doing at that time. I didn't want to compete. I didn't think it would be really, it wouldn't be right to compete for me. But, I missed it big time.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we could do an All-Stars thing for Texas at the end of the season, and have like you and Cam and a few of the other celebrities of eSTOL all do a round in something maybe.
I still got to get
That would
Kando
be
to
pretty
compete,
cool.
man. I've been trying to get Kando to compete. I want him to get in here, and it wouldn't be, it's all-star things. We're not going crazy at each other, but I think it would be pretty competitive still if we got Kando in here. We got Verstix TV, me, we got Kat, we got Cam. Got to get all the announcers to go up against each other.
I think some of the IRL style pilots were talking about joining in something, so that could be something that they could also join in. I know Justin was talking about it last year, so
yeah, it would
maybe
be cool
could be something we could get organised.
Shout out to Patrick McIntyre.
Oh, Pat McIntyre.
Yeah, he is. He called me towards the end of last eSTOL season, asking about good computers, recommendations for computers for eSTOL and for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and getting into it. I think his son's interested in getting into it, which his son is also flying with him to some of the competitions and having a good time and learning from his dad, since his dad's a CFI and a STOL pilot and an aerobatic instructor. Like, he's getting all the sides of aviation and has an advantage, especially in Patrick McIntyre's Rans S7, which I had a really awesome opportunity to fly at Lone Star STOL in real life last year. Oh man, it was so cool.
It's always awesome watching that Rans S7. I love Pat's plane.
There we go. That looks like that was the final landing, right? So we have our final
lap.
They're taxiing away. Final scores will be up here in a moment. But that wraps it up for the SwampSTOL, first event of 2025, National eSTOL. And I have to say, everybody did a dang good job. If you want to compete in National eSTOL, all you got to do is go to nationalstol.com/chat, and Cam will let you take away the unlimited class if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Sub B, number 1, with a score of 38. That is wild. NorCali J, number 2, score of 40. Wes Campbell, we'll say, is tied for number 2 with NorCali J, but he's number 3 at 40 feet combined total. James Beatty at 46. Sarah Eggleton at 68. And Moby Wong at 73 combined total. We've got 2 more. We've got Luke Carrier with 89 feet combined. And number 8, Cedric P. with 108 combined total for the limited class presented by National STOL.
Can lead us out.
Yeah, so I think there's some chatter going on about what are we going to do about that second place? Are we going to have a tiebreaker? What's going to happen?
Are we gonna have a face-off between Wes and Locali?
I don't know. I mean,
I'll tell you what,
there could be
I
one
want
of
the
two
party
things.
to
I mean,
end,
they
so
could
I would love for it to happen.
Oh yeah, I'm down to watch Wes and Callie go against each other. So
I
it looks
think
like
we've
we're
had a
gonna
green
have
light
a
for it.
face-off. Yeah, yeah, we got the approval, baby. Let's go. So we're not done just yet. Guys, get a few more minutes of National eSTOL. We're gonna have a face-off between Wes and Callie because they were tied at 40 feet. Now, what happens? Let me ask this: what happens if, in the face-off, that one of them scores 37 feet? Does that knock out first place?
I wouldn't
And that's
say
when
so.
race
I think
control
they're
comes
fighting
back.
now for second place.
Right, yeah, I guess.
And now we have a fight
it
for
probably-
first place there. Yeah, no, I think there should be, in my opinion, it should be a fight for second place for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. No matter the score, this would just determine who's second and third place. But yeah, that would be too much. That would be too much. I mean, Sub B would be like already, he'd already be popping a bottle, cheering on. His fans would be cheering him on, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Wait, I got second place because of a tie? How does that make sense?" So no, I don't. I think that's how it will go. We'll get clarification on it. Look at that beautiful SwampSTOL logo on the middle of the runway. I love it. It was one of my favorite ideas. When Anoff came up with that idea using the artwork of Barracus.
All right, showdown for
guys.
second and third place.
Head to head.
Just a few more minutes left of the Unlimited class, guys. We're just doing a runoff, head-to-head competition, green flag for NorCali and Wes Campbell. So this should be a sudden death. Maybe that's not the best terminology to use. We're not playing football here. It's going to be a head-to-head competition. It should be one round. Best takeoff and landing total wins, and they are competing for who gets second and who gets third place. So really, the numbers aren't as important here. I mean, they are, but they're not as important here because it's not going to... it's not going to determine if they get first place or anything. They're just going to go against each other for second and third place. My money, well, I don't know. It's tough to say who my money's on because of the gusts today. So I'm just I'm not betting today. If I was a betting man, I'd bet that I'm not betting today. The gusts are too high.
Yeah, I think that's a wise strategy. To be honest, it's I think it's all going to go down to who has the advantageous wind conditions.
Right, yeah. I mean, when your wind is at 7 knots, crosswind, and then your gusts are 19 or so, that's a tough day of flying for these guys. I don't envy them so much on a day like today. The windsock just blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
At the National STOL trailer.
Very windy spring so far over here on at least this side of the pond. Kat, how has weather been consistently for y'all on that side of the pond? Has it been
Wet
windy?
as usual. No, it's been wet as usual.
Okay. Are you gonna go to the GB STOL event?
I'm going
I think we
to
talked about it
try
last
to
year.
make it to it. It might be difficult because it's at the other end of the country for me, but we're going to see what's possible.
Yeah. Oh, no.
It's a scratch. Oh,
More
no.
Cali, so that...
Well, that is going to lay
not
all the pressure
necessarily-
on Wes now.
Yeah, that's not
I mean, Wes could
necessarily it
scratch,
because Wes... Yeah. Wes has to at least get a score here. So, I mean, essentially, Wes could set it down at halfway down the runway, and he's going to get second place. But still, good performance out of NorCali. I mean, you're talking 40-foot total on takeoff and landing, only 2 feet separating first from the second and third place that were tied at 40. So, even though Cali got a scratch, he performed his hard out today.
Oh,
And I
and
think
that looks like
was a
another
scratch.
Oh, was that another scratch?
I don't think Wes
Oh, it
knew
was.
that Callie
Oh
scratched.
my. Wow.
If he knew that Callie scratched, there's no way he would have tried to put it that close to the line. All he had to do was score.
yeah.
Well, I can tell you,
All right.
there is always that push to push it as hard as you can, and even if you know, you just need to do a safe run. As
Come on,
you said
Kat.
earlier,
Not
with
everybody
me.
is you. You would do that. You are one of the most competitive people I've ever met. You would, but not everybody would do it.
Yeah. I mean,
Now we get into the
I am,
situation. If they keep scratching, we could be still broadcasting in hours' time.
Tomorrow morning. No, I think Wes did not know that nor Callie scratched. So we have a second runoff here, folks. You guys are getting more than you bargained for today. I hope you're still having a great time, and don't forget we have a
Whoa!
whole new season. Of
Sorry
National
to
eSTOL coming
interrupt,
up.
but
yeah.
problem.
Did
sorry
you
to
just see
interrupt,
that?
but Nor
That was-
Callie's takeoff was just. Did he just like hook onto a cloud and use a bungee or something? That was crazy.
I mean,
Yeah,
let's
he
helicopter
hooked
mode
onto a
initiate.
gust. So Wes is lining up for the second runoff. Whose money is where, folks? Chat, let us know if you have Wes Campbell winning this runoff or if you have Nor Callie J winning this runoff. They both scratched on the first runoff. They're fighting for second and third place. Doing a little showing
Oh, yeah.
off.
We got some
rocking
got
the
some
wings a
crazy
bit.
gusts of. Yeah. Wes Campbell getting a little gust under his wings. Maybe hitting a little burble. We had some burbles last week in real life on approach. I think Russ Keith in the Chinook was having some experiences with the burbles. That whole class was having some issues. A little hot wind.
So I got two questions
Or
for you,
rising
Cam.
hot air.
What's a burble?
Yep.
And I did not know Russ Keith had a Chinook. And we're talking about the plane here, not the helicopter.
Yes, not the helicopter. Yep, we're talking about a Chinook Plus 2, which is different from Dan Reynolds' Chinook DR. But it's a two-place Chinook, yellow and black. And a burble is where you're going to experience a little rising hot air, and it catches the wing, and it may cause you to rock your wings a little bit. I know that there's plenty of T-shirts out there, Oshkosh-related T-shirts to rock your wings. That's what you do when you're identified for the Fisk approach coming into Oshkosh, but that's not what we want to see here. It's not what we want on approach here. And Nor Callie just dropping it in. But yeah, a burble is going to be a thermal, essentially. You hit a thermal, it's going to disrupt some of the airflow over the wings. Give you a little, may give you a little scare.
I do know that yesterday during practice, a lot of the pilots were talking about having a lot of turbulence as you go over those trees and over that lake at the end of the approach. Oh!
Wow.
Oh my goodness!
Now, the tail wheel can touch before the line.
Yes.
So that is illegal. As long as he didn't hit that line, they got to review it. It was so darn close. It just goes to show you the skill level of these pilots. Wes is really showing up in that Taco Delight Rockstar livery.
Yeah, do we have numbers for that? Because that was a bit ridiculous. I mean, Nor Callie had a super short landing, and Wes also with a super short landing. I am not sure who was shorter, but I think my money's on
I don't
Wes.
have numbers for it. I don't think there is numbers for the runoff spot of it, but we will get the numbers up on the board here.
Yeah, I think Nor Callie's takeoff was a bit sharper, but we'll see how it all comes out in the wash.
No.
the beautiful National eSTOL R66. Compliments of Cowan Sim for the flight simulator. We love our Cowan Sim helicopters.
Okay. I don't know if
So
those
still
are...
the same scoreboard. There's
I
no
think
way
we'll
we
get
did
some
that runoff
updated-
for nothing.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely not. I think those are the exact same numbers from before. But we'll get an update in just a moment.
Waiting on results, guys, and then we will let you guys free on your Saturday. Thanks for joining us, though, guys, at National eSTOL Live at Jennings for the first SwampSTOL, for the first eSTOL event this season, for the 2025 season. This is our second season, guys, and thanks for supporting us through the first season. A lot of fun during that first season. A lot of short takeoffs, a lot of short landings, a couple nose overs here and there. Maybe the FAA, called us about one or two of those nose overs in the flight simulator, but hey, it's the flight simulator.
That is correct, sir. As we see our National eSTOL Robinson, one of two, getting airborne here in a moment. Should have updated scores for
And Wes's
the
landing
runoff for
was
second place.
Wes's landing was so close on that second one that we're actually debating right now because we have a tool that will tell us is very accurate, but it was so close that we're visually verifying whether
There
or
we have
not
it.
Wes scratched.
Oh wait, we
Or
don't have
Callie
it
got
just
it.
yet. It should be updated,
So-
but I think
It looks like there was no scratch, but either way, Callie won the runoff. So congrats to Nor Callie J on winning the runoff, two-time runoff. Nor Callie J in second place, and Wes Campbell battling it out for that third place. So, what a competition. When your last place guy's best run is 108, you know you're in the unlimited class. 108 feet, folks, and that's the last place guy. I can't believe it.
yeah.
I mean, it bodes well for the season coming up. It's going to be a good season.
Oh, yeah. Kat, you said it. Cam, thanks for joining us. Kat, thanks for coming out and announcing with us. Everybody in the crowd, we'll see you guys at the next one. We love yous. National eSTOL. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.